Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's still my email. It's still in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. In 2007, de Bethune made 39 examples of the DB22 Power Reserve as you see it here. Micro-light blue titanium dial, rose gold case. But here's the thing. Those 39 can't boast of prototype status. That's right, this is the prototype, making it a one-of-one opportunity for the serious collector of independent horology or the de Bethune collector looking for the ultimate trophy. It's a wonderful watch and one of the most versatile that the company has made. And it was also their first sports watch with over 100 meters of water resistance and a screw-down crown. So let's see what it has to offer. It's big in rose gold. The shingle-like case is 48 millimeters in diameter, though it is thin at 11.5 millimeters thick. From lug tip to lug tip, 52.6 millimeters with a 26 millimeter spacing between the lugs. I'll throw it on my wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. It's probably a bit big for me. I'll withdraw my cuff so you get a better sense. I do think that 17 centimeters circumference is the ideal starting size for this watch. It sits securely, but you can see how broad it is. And I really do think, especially when you look at it down the barrel, there is lug overlap, so it's a bit too big for me. Wrists of 17 centimeters circumference or larger are recommended, though you can see how flat it is. If your wrist is broad enough to accommodate it, your cuff will slide over the top. The strap that's used is medium brown, semi-gloss, rectangular scale alligator leather, and it is relatively thin cut with calfskin on the bottom. This is an older vintage de Bethune strap, so actually if you buy this watch, I recommend you hang on to the strap because it is of the vintage of the watch. Today, de Bethune straps have alligator on the bottom and gator on the top. These older calfskin bottom straps, especially in this condition, factory branded, are highly collectible. And then we've got a matching faceted, alternately media blasted and polished pin buckle at de Bethune. The pin buckle always matches the design of the case, and you can see that is very much what's going on here with the combination of media blast, faceting, and polish of the lugs echoing the design of the buckle. Taking a look at the case, you can see it's an intricate thing with a lot of angles, crevices, curves, all coming together to form a watch that represents a sort of middle period of design for watchmaker and designer Denis Flageolet, a little bit like the vaguely Mesoamerican or Egyptian revival middle Frank Lloyd Wrights of the West Coast. It's an interesting study in the journey of the watchmaker right here. We have knurling or drilling on the crown, and it is an unbranded crown, but a screw down. Given this watch, it's greater than 100 meter water resistance. You can see that the bezel on its top actually features assembly screws, and it's a combination of polishing, faceting, and then media blast all the way around the top, which takes the edge off and gives it a little bit of a matte contrast with the faceted and polished inner bezel. Now the dial has a metallic track featuring sectors that can be read on the hybrid hands. The hands are a combination of rhodium-plated mirrored steel and blued titanium, which is very impressive to see in combination. The dial is also fire-blued titanium. There are several different blued titanium shades at de Bethune. As you can see, even the shade used for the Power Reserve grills is different than that used for the fixing bolts or the dial or the hands. But all of this is achieved by fire oxidizing the material. Microlight is a very fine engraving similar to guilloche in that it is reductive and executed on a traditional lathe, but it's a more modern look that better fills out the dial of a very forward-looking watch design where maybe a rosette guilloche like an old Breguet would not work quite as well. You can also see that there's a little sort of wagon wheel spoke design at the center, which is quite cool to see, and that the dial has tremendous depth to it. Also appreciate that we do have those Power Reserve indicators. Though the watch is automatic, you can wind it manually. The 6-day Power Reserve is fully energized when all of those grill elements have turned from red to black. That's how you do it manually, and if you want to see how the operation works, It has very little dangle. It is one of the most reactive crowns I've encountered, and it's nice and solid. It doesn't have a lot of extraneous movement when withdrawn, which speaks to the quality of the stem and the stem tube assembly. Flipped it all over, you can see once again, this is very much a prototype, but there's no compromise in the finishing. It's finished to a production level, and I know because I've seen dozens of examples of the caliber 2024, which is what we have right here. Now again, we have that combination of base metals and the fired titanium in blue. But what is distinctive here is that we have a platinum mass on a titanium arm, and by making the arm as long as possible, Denis Flageolet increased the winding efficiency. But by increasing the lever arm so much, you create the possibility that instead of just rotational motion, you'll also have side-to-side torque, which can weaken the rotor bearing. So the solution was a patented system, patented in 2006, that creates these 4 cantilever springs over the center of the rotor, and each one features inset jewels, so when the rotor center contacts the spring, friction is minimized. So that endows the winding system with shock resistance. We have twin self-adjusting barrels, 6 days of power reserve, and because they are in series and phased, the mainspring torque to the escapement is very consistent and flat through that period for excellent regularity in the timekeeping. No tricks are played with the beat rate to achieve that long power reserve. We have a 8 beat per second or 4 hertz rate. We have 1, 2, 3 shock protection springs for the balance staff. This is called triple parachute, and yes, it is patented. It has 2 functions. 1, avoid damage to the balance staff pivots, but 2, more rapidly recenter them in their pivot jewel cup to resume good timekeeping. So we have both a durability and a chronometric argument for this system. We also have a full dual anchored balance bridge for greater stability against shock. If you look, you can see this is one of Denis Flageolet's 10 separate patented balance wheel innovations. He just keeps pushing the state of the art. Now this one is non-annular, meaning it's almost like 2 crossed yokes, but it's not a wheel. It's not a continuous rim all the way around. It is made of blued titanium for minimal reaction to temperature changes in the timing of the watch, and also because it's desirable always to put as much of the mass of a balance in the rim as possible. So the wheel is titanium and the masses are bulbs of platinum. Finally, you can see the distinctive hairspring, which is actually 2 pieces cut apart, shaped by hand. And then once that's done, they're reclamped together. So it's flat and shock resistant like a flat hairspring, but it breathes concentrically like an overcoil. And you can see here we have a combination of media blasting, a lovely deep-grained snailing, black polishing on all screw heads. We have mirror beveling on the spring system for the triple parachute. It is actually full of little details like satination on the wheels as well as on the cantilever springs, and deeply impressive. And again, this is a swimmable vintage de Bethune, but being a prototype, there's only one. This probably deserves a high and dry place of honor in your collection. Reach out to me. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.